Most people assume their mind changes slowly. Years of habits, years of thinking the same way. But sometimes, the shift happens much faster than expected. Not because life suddenly improves, not because motivation appears, but because one quiet realization changes how the brain interprets everything. You wake up at the same time. You go to work. You answer emails, attend meetings, pay bills, check your bank account, and repeat the routine. From the outside, everything looks stable. But internally, something feels slightly off. You're productive, responsible, disciplined. Yet the feeling of progress is strangely absent, and that discomfort usually isn't caused by lack of effort. It's caused by the mental system running behind the effort. Your brain is following patterns that were never consciously designed, and once you notice them, they become surprisingly easy to change. Not overnight, but much faster than most people think. 1. The brain believes what it repeats. Your brain does not carefully evaluate every thought. It simply tracks repetition. If you tell yourself every day, "I'm bad with money," "I'm not disciplined enough," "I always procrastinate," the brain quietly records this as identity, not opinion. Even intelligent people fall into this. A student says, "I'm just terrible at math." A professional says, "I'm not the type who wakes up early." And the brain builds behavior around those statements. But something interesting happens when the language changes. Not dramatically, just slightly. Instead of saying, "I procrastinate," you say, "I'm someone learning to focus better." It sounds small, but the brain processes identity statements differently than complaints. Identity becomes a blueprint. And once the blueprint changes, behavior slowly begins adjusting around it. 2. The environment shapes your mind, more than motivation. Most people think discipline is internal, but psychology research consistently shows something simpler. Environment often beats willpower. Imagine two situations. In one apartment, the phone sits next to the bed. Notifications blink all night. In another apartment, the phone charges across the room. Same person, same intentions. Completely different outcome. Your brain doesn't operate in isolation. It constantly negotiates with the environment. That's why quietly effective people rarely rely on motivation. They design surroundings that make the right action easier than the wrong one. Healthy food visible. Distractions slightly inconvenient. Important tools always within reach. The mind follows friction, not motivation. 3. Your brain protects comfort, not progress. There's a subtle misunderstanding about ambition. Most people think the brain wants improvement. It doesn't. It wants predictability. A stable routine feels safe, even if it's not ideal. This is why someone can earn a decent salary, live in a comfortable apartment, pay bills on time, and still feel stuck for years. Nothing is wrong, but nothing evolves either. The brain prefers familiar stress over unfamiliar growth, which means reprogramming the mind sometimes requires something uncomfortable. Not extreme change, just small disruptions to routine comfort. Taking a different route to work, changing when you check your phone, working from a new environment. These minor shifts interrupt autopilot, and once autopilot breaks, awareness returns. 4. The brain responds to immediate rewards. Humans are wired for short-term feedback. That's why scrolling social media feels satisfying. Tiny rewards appear instantly, but long-term goals, saving money, improving health, building skills, often feel abstract, too distant. So the brain prioritizes what feels rewarding right now. But there's a workaround. Quietly intelligent people attach immediate rewards to long-term behaviors. For example, listening to favorite podcasts while exercising. Drinking good coffee only during focused work sessions. Using pleasant environments for difficult tasks. The task remains the same, but the brain begins associating it with reward, and behavior changes surprisingly fast. 5. The mind follows attention. What you notice repeatedly becomes your reality. If you constantly observe problems, the brain becomes a professional problem detector. Every day feels heavier, but attention can be redirected, not through forced positivity, through intentional noticing. If this perspective helped you see things a little clearer, you can like the video or subscribe for more calm explorations like this. Nothing urgent, just when it feels right.